All right, Everett. Last Wednesday, January 11th, was some of the most fun I've ever had watching volleyball. And here's a big reason why. We previewed it on Tuesday night's show. Our boy Blair Lambert in the chat, who is a legend and has been watching volleyball for longer than we've been alive, he said,
Calling him out like that. Sorry, Blair.
despite the hype, he said, Modena is going to 3-0 Lüneburg. And he then said in the Discord that he has never been happier to be wrong. What a match for a starting lineup of 6 North Americans with one of the best crowds I've seen all year, if not this decade. Lunenburg beats Modena 3-2 at home in the CEV Cup in an absolute barn burner. What a match for the OutofSystem boys, for all 3 Canadian middles, for Jordan Ewert and Colton Cowell and Lucas Massa, obviously the one German in that starting lineup holding it down. This match was absolutely insane. This and Halkbank versus Avierce going on at the exact same time, which we'll talk about in a minute, was some of the most fun I've had watching volleyball all year. Had both screens going. It was absolutely electric. They both went 5. The good guys won both games. And Lunenburg beating Modena might be the upset of the year in all of volleyball.
Yeah, it absolutely was. And we've got Matt Buffum coming in saying that they should have won in 3, and he's not necessarily wrong.
It's not wrong. They definitely should have won the second.
They had chances out there. They should have won. Was it the second or third where Colwell? No, that was the third where Colton Colwell called his own touch to tie the game up.
Ended up winning anyway. But yeah, they absolutely should have won the second set. And it was crazy because as we heard, I mean, Everett, both you and I listened to the OutofSystem Boys podcast earlier today, where
which is a must listen to. I think if you're interested in it at all, if you watch the game, you didn't watch the game, you have to listen to that podcast. They break it down so well.
And I think that they were just trying to sugarcoat some of the parts of this match, both that match and then the Halkbank match that were rougher around the edges that they didn't want to get into. We're going to get into them. We are going to get into them. First of all, Modena did not take Lunenburg seriously. That much is extremely clear. They did not scout. They did not plan on playing the starters. They started a joke of a lineup, and sure enough, Lunenburg came out, punched him in the mouth in the first set, and brought Irvin Ingapet in off the bench late in set 1, at which point it was basically already too late for Modena. So great sign there if you're Lunenburg. You take advantage of a team that is sleeping on you. But then the rest of the match got even more interesting. It got really, really chippy. In the 8th finals of CEV Cup, there is no challenge system in play. And in international volleyball the last 5 years, we've really gotten spoiled by the challenge system, so much so that we've kind of forgotten what it's like when everything isn't immediately reviewable. And boy, did that create some drama.
It was bad at times.
Yeah,
and I mean, Joe broke it down pretty well in the OutofSystem podcast, but you could tell why both teams were getting heated. It was just the perfect boiling pot of everything going on. Like, that new Lunenburg Stadium is beautiful. You have awesome. The 2 levels. It was standing room only. People were loud. They have the German clackers going off in between every point. Bruno's whining. Engapeth is whining. You know, neither of them looking good. You got Jordan Snitcher blocking them all over the place. Joe Worsley running that offense just beautifully. Man, Jordan Ewert. How much can you say about this?
What a clinic that kid.
How is he not? When I watch what Jordan Ewert did against Modena and Hershing this weekend compared to Cody Kessel, who, while starting for Berlin, loses to Gießen. They got 3 downed by Gießen, which we're going to talk about in a little bit too. How is Cody Kessel wearing a Team USA jersey and Jordan Ewert is sniffing the gym? I'm not even American. I shouldn't even be upset about this like this. But man, Jordan Ewert, time and time again, looks so good. Spera, watch a little bit of international volleyball, please, and give him a shot.
Well, apparently he doesn't. He didn't know who Kamil Semeniuk was going into last summer. That's a
best thing I've ever heard.
Different conversation. Jordan Ewert balled out. So did Colton Cowell. I got to give him a huge amount of credit. There was one ridiculous scramble play where Joe kind of falling, bump set a ball right on the net, and Cowell out of absolutely nowhere ripped the ball 4-4 inside 10 feet, inside 2 gigantic blockers, just a straight up bounce ball in OutofSystem situation out of nowhere. That was so hype. Jordan Schnitzer put on a blocking clinic, especially one huge one late in Adesla Gumja in the 5th. I mean, this match was absolutely amazing, and it had a little bit of everything. And okay, apparently there were some words said after the match, in the quote unquote handshake lines that weren't really very handshaking or sportsmanlike. Everett, what have you heard that we can share about some of the drama going on during and after this match?
The fact that Bruno is going after bench players and saying that their celebrations are disrespectful. Get over yourself, Bruno. Just win the game. You should win the game.
Actually
win the
prepare.
Game.
Take them seriously. Not
and
doing that.
Don't just,
That's disrespectful.
And don't just whine about it when things don't go about your way. I was as one of the Canadian guys told me after the games, they were disappointed in the way that Modena acted. Right? These guys, this is the opportunity of a lifetime to play some of their heroes. Right? We've grown up, especially guys who are just joining these teams now. They've grown up watching Bruno win Olympics, Engapeth win Olympics, win World Leagues, win VNL titles, World Championships, whatever it is. And to go out there and act that way just because you guys aren't on your best that day is absolutely terrible. Calling out a bench player, like a guy who wasn't even in the game, in the handshake line, have a little bit of class. It kind of hurts me because Bruno's someone that I respect so much. I won't lie. I kind of expect that type of attitude from Engapeth just because totally. It's Engapeth.
He's an absolute loser. He's probably the worst sport in all of volleyball. When the first thing doesn't go his way, he pouts the rest of the game and gets stuff blocked 7 times against the German team. I mean, his attitude problems are well known, but I did not expect this out of Bruno. I agree.
I mean,
Gianni, for God's sakes.
Yeah,
what is this guy doing? Talking. What did he say to Pierzashenko that you were talking about?
Yeah, apparently he told Pierzashenko that he was a disgrace to all of Canada because he didn't call his block touches. And yet you can, if you go to the OutofSystem podcast, you clearly hear about Engapeth not calling his block touches. It's this kind of stuff that I absolutely hate. And you know what? We say we don't really expect it from Bruno, but how many times have we seen it from Bruno? I remember a specific Italian ref telling me back in 2012 when World League was in Canada, and the FIVB had basically told that you do not card Bernardino, who was Bruno's dad, of course, coaching Brazil at the time. And I think that's just an extension. And I mean, hey, you know what we've seen in North American sports? LeBron gets the call, right? LeBron is able to get that call. The same thing with Michael Jordan. And you do have to have some of that respect for those legendary players. But you know what? If you're going to lose, take it like a man. Don't go whining about it.
Totally. And they did not take this loss like a man, like men, from what it sounded like on the Modena side. I mean, Gianni's complaining, Bruno's complaining, Ingapet's complaining. Nobody's fault but their own. They slept on a good team and got punched in the mouth on the road in one of my favorite matches that I've watched this year. So it was so good to see these kids that we know personally. Like, I know Joe and Gage, all 3 of the Canadian middles. And I met obviously Pierce, and I think I met Xander briefly over the summer. Those guys deserve it. Those guys had a huge opportunity to play against some of their heroes, like you said. They made the most of it. It was the biggest win in Lunenburg's club history by far. Our guy Stefan Hubner, their head coach, huge congratulations to him. Well deserved, and I just hope, I really, really, really hope that in the return leg, Lunenburg, when they go to Modena in a couple weeks, they don't just get destroyed. And I think that's very possible. Even if that does happen, the winning that match at home will never be forgotten. But Modena, it would be in Modena's best interest to start the next match as pissed off as they finished the last one.
Yeah, there's 2 things I want to talk about. First and foremost, that Paolo Panini is going to be rocking.
Good,
right?
Better.
And it better. Absolutely. Take them seriously because remember what happened to Modena in last year's CEV Cup.
That's right.
Right, losing to Tools in this exact same situation in the exact same round, right? And they would have basically put them on to the finals because Zenit Kazan was kicked out because of other reasons at that point, right? So, you know what? Modena has a lot to play for, and I do think that there's not a lot of pressure on the Lunenburg side of things, right? But it's so clear to me that Modena did no preparation for this match. If you had just gone back a few matches, like even 1 month back of their matches, you would have seen that they've pushed Berlin and Friedrichshafen so hard, and this was a tough team to play against. But even Joe was talking about it in their podcast. I don't think that's going to happen the same way around in the second round playing at Modena. I would be shocked if that would.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that next match, Modena will understand what they need to do to be prepared to win, to advance in that tournament. But we've also seen Modena sleepwalk in CEV Cup before, thinking that they're better than it, thinking that they're going to get through no problem. And that's exactly what we saw last year. So I'm definitely rooting for Lunenburg. I think we all are. Huge congratulations to them again on that win. And the next match we got to talk about was the one happening at the exact same time in an even bigger competition, an even arguably even more ridiculous match, almost a 3-hour barn burner in Turkey. Halkbank Ankara beats Zavierce 19-17 in the fifth. And I'm not going to show the clip of Micah Ma'a stuff blocking Uros Kovacevic on match point because CEV will take the video down. But oh my goodness, what a visceral release of pure energy we saw from Micah as soon as he won that match. That was absolutely amazing. MVP well deserved. This was one of the craziest matches of the year. Now this is a Champions League game. They have replay. They have challenges. The officials completely lost control of this game. Completely lost control of this game. And I talk about this in sports a lot. More sports than just volleyball, about how officiating impacts games. Officiating impacts volleyball less than any other major sport on earth. And still, really their only job is to keep the game under control, especially when you have replay to rely on. But somehow they completely lost control of this Halkbank versus Zavierce game. There were red cards handed out, I think, to both teams. There were replays that were just clueless. There were calls by the officials that made no sense. And Micah talked about a little bit about it in the OutofSystem podcast. But sure enough, at the very, very end of it all, just a huge release as Ma'a stuff blocks Kovacevic at 19-17 in the fifth. This match was ridiculous. It was incredibly fun to watch this and Lunenburg side by side. And again, like I said, the good guys won both games.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Micah Ma'a hit it on the head in the OutofSystem podcast when talking about that. You can give a card in that situation, but if a player is reacting to your bad call,
yes,
right, that is completely wrong, and
yes.
that you admit that is wrong and you overturn, it shouldn't be a red card. It should just be a yellow, because if you can't keep it up to the game, right, you need to monitor it better, because that's what basically gave Zavierce the set in that one. But still, it was a banger of a match. It basically puts Halkbank in a good position to take a pool, because they have to play Hebar in the final week next week. Zavierce has to go and play Berlin at Berlin. So man, anything could happen. That's the most volatile pool, and it got even worse, and I love it.
Totally.